The HMIS team created a new report called the SSO Program Review Report. You can find it in ART. We will find it in just a little bit here. The purpose of this new report is for supportive services only type projects to be able to monitor clients that should be exited for inactivity. This report allows basic data quality review in a way that previously supportive services only projects were not able to do. What this report does is return 6 tabs of information regarding all currently open client entries for that project. After reviewing which entries are currently open, you can determine which are inactive based on how long they've been open, and you can correct those records by exiting those clients from your project. The reason that system-wide is in the project name is because it's not meant for any one agency like UMOM or Catholic Charities, but anyone in the system is able to use this report. And finally, when you run this report, it is not recommended to run on more than one provider at a time. However, we have left the function turned on that lets us do multiple providers. So if you do see numbers you didn't expect, make sure that you are running it for one project at a time. Let's go ahead and move into the report itself. Now that I am on Service Point, I'm going to go ahead and move to ART, the Advanced Reporting tool up here in the top right. You can find this report in the public folder under Data Quality Reports. Let me expand that folder and scroll down until I see the report right here, SSO Program Review System-Wide, which was created on January 16th of this year. So to run the report, we're going to click on the magnifying glass and click on Schedule Report. There's only 3 prompts for this particular report. So first I'm going to select my EDA provider. For this example, I have gone ahead and I'm going to be using Native American Connections, but I will not be showing their data. I will just be using them as an example for how to run the report. So I first search for an EDA provider, looking for Native American Connections. Let's try to find their SSO. Here we go. Here's Home-Based Case Management Supportive Services. I'm going to click the green plus sign and hit Submit. And now for an effective date, I'm going to choose today by just clicking on the green check mark to set to current date. What the report does is it reports for a period of 6 months before whenever the effective date is. So you're probably going to always be setting it to today. And then you're going to pick your provider. As you can see, sometimes it will have some previously run projects listed already, so we can clear those out and just select our own. So I did a search for Native American Connections again, and I find the Home-Based Case Management SSO project that I wanted to use as an illustration. I click on the green plus sign, scroll down, and I see that it's been placed in my selected list of providers that I'm going to be running the report on. I click Submit. I scroll back up to look at my box again, and I see that all 3 of my prompts have been filled in, and I can click on Next to be taken to the finishing page where we can name it if we want to. Report format is going to need to be Excel. We're going to select an interval of once, like always. We always pick once, and we never change the start and end date prompts. We're going to click on Send, and that's all you do to run the report. I'm going to scroll to the bottom of the page and show that, like always, if you want to refresh that scheduled report and pull it up, you could scroll to the very bottom where it says the list of your scheduled reports and click on the refresh button in the bottom right, and then it will show the latest one that you just ran. And it says that it's going to be Excel and it is currently running. When it's finished, it will say complete. Once it's finished, like all the other reports, we can click on the magnifying glass and it'll give us an option to download from there. But I've already run one before on a random project that was not Native American Connections, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that up now so we can review it. So as I had mentioned earlier, there are 6 tabs of information regarding all currently open client entries for this project. So I'm going to go over each of the tabs. On tab 1, it is called Multiple EE. This tab shows clients which have more than one open entry into the project that you selected. It does not include clients with just one entry, and it does not count client records with an exit date. In other words, if I see my client, Tess Testerson, up here, and he's on this list with the number 2 by his name, then that means that if I find his client record, it will have 2 unexited records for the same project. And that would be an issue, and you would need to be closing one of those. On tabs 2 through 4, that is service inactivity last 30, service inactivity last 3 months, and service inactivity last 6 months, for these 3 tabs, these show whether or not a client has a service recorded in the specified time period, and it suggests if a client should be exited. So in the example, the report shows that my client's most recent service was 10/15/18 for client 1. And it suggests they need exiting. Also in the example, the second client has no service record at all. And again, the third column suggests creating an exit for the client. If indeed it was supposed to be recorded in the first place. So I'm sure you're asking, how does it know if they should be exited or not? And the answer is, if the last service falls outside that tab's period of time, then they are marked yes, they need exiting. So if your project exits clients after 30 days of no service records, then you should use the 30-day tab. But if you grant 3 months, you will do the 3-month tab. So if you are not sure how long you are supposed to wait until exiting a client from your supportive services only project, please create a ticket to the help desk and we can definitely help you determine what your period should be if you are not sure. Let's move on to tabs 5 and 6, which are UDE Summary and UDE Detail. These tabs give a breakdown of how well the project, or projects if you chose to run it on more than one, is completing the UDE fields. The summary, which is the one that I'm on right now, gives a basic count, and the detail gives the actual UDE answers for each client in question. The reason why we included these in this report is so you don't have to also run the 0252, the data quality report, to check on these UDE fields. In our example, I left the numbers for the UDE summary just to explain that the anonymous project here had 266 total clients, and about 6% did not list a date of birth, which is what I've highlighted in yellow, and now green. It looks like perhaps we could change this from a decimal place to a percentage, but in the meantime, you get the idea. 5.6 is almost 6%. And then on the Detail tab, I deleted the 266 entries and I just left 2 unidentified. And we see that these 2 did not have any missing UDE details, or else it would say, it will show the client numbers, which provider created the client, the social security number, data quality, and it says that for both of them the full social was recorded, and so on. There's a date of birth, disabling condition, yes or no, ethnicity, gender, primary race, and residence prior. Now the reason why we have this section over here about provider creating client is mostly for HMIS internal reference, so that when we run the report, we can sort by providers to see which ones do a better job of recording UDEs, or the universal data elements. The final tab on this report is the additional information tab, which is just like the additional information tabs from the art gallery reports, the ones that normally have 4 digits in front of them, where it tells you how you filled it out. So when I ran this report, I ran it for a generic Maricopa project, and the effective date I set to be today. Or in this case, 1/28. I guess I selected the day, 1/28. And below that, there's a little bit of details about the report, just to remind you. And finally, at the bottom of the screen, it will also show when the report was created, initially created, and then if there were any updates since creation. So once you have this information, you're able to review these clients and correct the errors where they should be exited because they haven't had any services for 30 days or 3 months or for 6 months. And then also you can do some quick checks and quick corrections to the UDEs by reviewing the summary and the details to find out which exact clients are missing, which exact items of information. And that concludes the instruction for this particular report, the SSO Program Review System-Wide Report.